No one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
It was a singular moment in the American story where the chaotic political theater paused, if only for a few breathless heartbeats, to witness a masterclass in profound dignity. The occasion was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, an evening typically dedicated to light-hearted roasts and polite applause. Yet on this particular night, the air was thick with a tension that felt more like a heavyweight boxing match than a standard banquet. For months, Donald Trump had been dominating the media cycle, relentlessly targeting President Barack Obama by questioning his birth certificate.
And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night.
Mocking his academic credentials and framing himself as the louder, more competent alternative. He did not merely criticize policy. He attacked the man himself, and the media, driven by outrage and viral sound bites, followed Trump's every move. When the two men finally occupied the same room, sitting only tables apart, the world tuned in expecting a clash of massive egos or an explosion of anger. Trump sat stony-faced with his arms crossed, prepared for a fight, having spent weeks occupying the spotlight with sheer volume. The audience waited for Obama to snap or engage in the kind of muddy brawl that had become the new cultural normal. However, Barack Obama did not shout, sneer, or take the bait. As he approached the podium, he adjusted the microphone with the steady, unhurried grace of a man who possesses total self-assurance.
What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
He scanned the crowd until his eyes found Donald Trump, and the room fell so silent you could hear the faint clinking of silverware. He did not defend his record point by point or produce the paperwork Trump demanded. Instead, he delivered a response that was measured, deliberate, and grounded in a forgotten principle. No one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald, Obama began in a calm, rhythmic voice. And that is because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? The room erupted in laughter as he used humor as a surgical strike to expose the absurdity of the attacks. But he wasn't finished. He shifted his tone, leaning in for the sentence that would redefine the entire encounter, looking directly at his critic and saying softly but powerfully, "Real leadership is not about insults or volume, but about responsibility, results, and respect for the people you serve."
I don't think it's restricted, by the way, to Mr. Trump. I mean, I find it interesting that everybody's focused on Trump primarily just because he says in more interesting ways what the other candidates are saying as well.
In that instant, the entire atmosphere shifted as the laughter died into a hush of collective realization. The contrast was blinding. On one side was a man who thrived on spectacle and the need to dominate. On the other was a man who understood that true authority comes from steadiness. Obama let the remark hang in the air just long enough for everyone to see the attacks for what they were: small. By refusing to engage on Trump's terms, he exposed the vast difference between performance and governance. Then he delivered the final blow with devastating wit, noting that Trump's decision-making on The Apprentice by firing Gary Busey was the kind of thing that would keep a president up at night. The room roared, but it was the earlier message about responsibility and respect that lingered. Clips of the moment spread rapidly not as a sick burn, but as a perceived return to sanity, reminding the audience what leadership is supposed to look like, a time when presidents spoke with weight rather than just volume. Analysts later noted the strategic brilliance of the moment as Obama understood that insults lose their power when they aren't returned.
Winning, you gotta win. You know, I've watched a lot of people, leaders, great leaders. And, you know, the one thing about sports is you break it down into, a 2-hour period, something nice. You don't have to wait a lifetime to find out is somebody a winner or a loser. You got a lot of losers, mostly losers.
By remaining calm, he denied Trump the reaction he craved and appeared presidential while his critics' words seemed petty. The moment revealed that in a culture addicted to noise, silence and composure can be the most powerful weapons. It cut through the static by refusing to add to it, leaving Obama's steady demeanor as the standing image of the night. The exchange became less about who insulted whom and more about how leaders behave under extreme pressure, proving that strength does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it shows up as patience, clarity, and self-control. This resonated beyond politics because it tapped into a universal truth about respect that the older generation understands implicitly. Obama modeled the choice to stay composed under immense scrutiny, reminding people that dignity is not weakness, and calm is not surrender, it is control. By choosing his words carefully, he controlled the narrative and left his critic reacting instead of leading. In the end, that single sentence did what hours of debate could not, redefining the encounter and leaving a lasting impression that true power belongs to the one who can stand the stillest.